Hey everybody, Stacia here today, and I'm really excited to talk to you all today about mullein. I have noticed mullein and known that it's been beneficial or medicinal for years and years and years, over 20 years, but I've never developed a really strong relationship with it. And until just recently, actually, I've harvested it over the years and made mullein tea and things like that. But again, like I said, I never really had a chance to really get to know it very well. And then I walk regularly on this path, this trail. And I noticed there's a whole area in a field that burned recently, last year. And so this year it's full of first year mullein growth. It's just packed in there solid. And the mullein is out there every day that I walk by it like, hey, are we going to get to know each other or what? So I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So I am going to, there's lots of information and videos out there about what to do with the flowers. And I have done a lot of things with the flowers, like when the kids were little, made the ear oil and all of that type of thing. But today I'm going to mostly be focusing and talking about drying mullein. I am drying all of this mullein for nourishing herbal infusions. And I'm not going to go into too serious conversation about nourishing herbal infusions because there's a lot of information out there already on nourishing herbal infusions. Susan Weed has tons of videos all about nourishing herbal infusions and so on and so forth. So that's what I'm going to talk about, drying those for nourishing herbal infusions and then making a tincture. So that's what we're going to be doing today. But first I will talk a little bit about mullein. So like I said, mullein is a biennial plant, which means it lives for 2 years. And its first year it makes this, what is called a basal rosette. So similar to burdock, does this as well. But it makes just this little cabbagey looking thing on the ground. And this is it. This is its first year. And then the second year it shoots a stalk up. And then after that it's done. The plant has done its thing. Mullein is in the figwort plant family. And so anyway, I like to harvest at the end of the first year or early in the spring before it shoots its stalk up. But again, there aren't really any rules, and a lot of times the show must go on. So if all you have available to you is mullein that's already shot up its stalk and it's going to be over soon, well, that's still, valuable medicine. It's just not as full of nutrients as it would be at this time, but it still is beneficial nonetheless. So harvest what you can, do what you can with what's available to you at the time. And, you know, and experiment. This is all just one big experiment anyway, so. I gotta get a drink. Okay, I'm back. So anyway, I have dug up these roots, as you saw in the intro video there. I was digging up the roots, and I brought those home and washed them up and dried them. I dried them, patted them dry with some towels, and then I chopped them up and put them in this food processor. And I'm going to actually whiz them up a little bit more. Okay, so we are going to make a Mullein leaf and root tincture. And I like to use 100 proof vodka because it is already 50% alcohol, 50% water. But feel free to use what is available to you. Not all states sell 100 proof vodka. So anyway, we'll get this in here. I love the smell Mullein puts off. It's like so fresh. So fresh, yeah. And the tincture is good, but I actually prefer to drink the infusion because it enables you to get all of the mucilage. So mucilage is really important for our lung tissue, all the mucous membranes really, but especially our lung tissue. And that's why Mullein is so, you know, famous for, you know, it's as being a cold and flu remedy. So, because it is so helpful for the lung tissue. So anyway, the roots, as you can see, I'm just gonna do, if this were, you know, 5 parts, it'll be 1 part root and the rest with the leaf for the tincture. And I'm just going to fold this up. I might have got too many here, we'll see. And cut. Oh, this is working pretty good. Yeah, so anyway, like I was saying, the mucilage is really important, and alcohol doesn't extract mucilage. Now, 100 proof vodka being 50% alcohol, 50% water, will extract some of the mucilage, but not a whole lot. Not like you would if you were making the nourishing herbal infusion. But the tincture can still be very helpful to a lot of people to have as everyday medicine. So, yeah, the leaves, aren't they pretty? They have this huge rib down the middle and they're nice. That one's kind of dirty. Set that off to the side. Yeah. So anyway, I make my nourishing herbal infusion by weighing out 1 ounce of dried herb in a quart jar and pouring boiling water over that and letting that steep for 4 hours or overnight. It's just the usual nourishing herbal infusion recipe there. Susan Weed has tons of videos on Nourishing Herbal Infusions, and I would recommend checking her out if you want to get to know more of the Nourishing Herbal Infusions. I have been drinking them. I don't take any supplements of any kind. I don't take vitamins and minerals and things. So I get a lot of nutrition from Nourishing Herbal Infusions. And that's why I like to weigh out the 1 ounce. Not everybody weighs out the 1 ounce, you know, and of course you should feel free to do whatever you want. But I personally like to weigh out the 1 ounce. I feel like it gives me the solid, it's consistent. It consistently gives me the nutrition that I am looking for. And that's why I do it. And I also like the ritual of it. It's a really nice ritual, weighing out the herb that you are then going to consume. So, but anyway, back to the tincture. So I am making this tincture mainly for my partner because he has asthma and some other lung-related issues. I won't be consuming this because I don't have, I just don't have those kind of issues. Me and my children, if we get sick, I don't have, it doesn't turn into bronchitis or pneumonia or a lingering cough. We just kind of have it, it's done, and it's over. But this will be for those type of people who need the extra support. The extra support there. I'm going to put just a couple more in, and then we will be ready to pour the alcohol on. And like I said, I like to use the 100 proof vodka. And then, so as far as tinctures go, you know, you cover your herb in alcohol, and then you let it steep for at least 6 weeks. And out of direct sunlight. Anyway, so here it is, mostly mullein leaf. Just going to get my 100 proof. If I can take that thing off there, because I think this is going to take this whole thing. Yep, just pour over your mullein leaf and root. The root gives it some extra bang, you know, so it the root really adds to this tincture. All right, fill it up to the top. And then I like to put a wax paper, or I'm actually out of wax paper, so this is parchment paper. But I put the parchment paper down and then put the metal cap right on there. And, all right, you can give it a few shakes, and you can also press down and do different things with like chopsticks, or those shish kebab sticks are helpful in pressing the herb down. And then after I create whatever tincture that I'm making, I like to check it out at least the next morning and see if the herb, if the alcohol has settled and the herb has come up over the plant material. You just, you want your plant material to be covered, is what I'm saying. So it doesn't have to be all the way to the tippy top with the alcohol, but the plant material, whatever tincture you're making, should be fully submerged in the alcohol. that might require the next day opening it up and poking around a little bit. So anyway, next, most importantly, is labeling. Labeling what it is, and then after 6 weeks, you can strain this. And I like to just strain through cheesecloth and a strainer, and then you can bottle it into dropper bottles and take it that way. And as always with all tinctures, I like to say it's good to start small and work your way up from there. You know, get to know the plant gently. You know, take your time. Get to know your plant in the wild. Observe it. What does it do? And then same with consuming it too. Just take, you know, 4 or 5 drops, and then work up from there, and, you know, develop your relationship that way. Then you can take your time. It's just like any relationship, especially with people. We don't just jump right in, you know, we get to know people a little bit, and then we jump in. So same with the plants. Anyway, I'm gonna stop this for a minute and clean up this area, and then we're gonna focus on I'm gonna give you some little tips and tricks for drying the mullein, because they're big leaves, they take up a lot of space. So we will be moving on to that. I'm back and ready to talk about drying the mullein. The leaves are so large, you know, that I like, and they have this nice thick rib, that I like to string them up with a needle and thread and hang them that way. Otherwise, they would just be all over my house on screens. So if you're into drying a lot of mullein, I would suggest maybe trying it this way. Since I am drying mine for the Nourishing Herbal Infusions and 1 ounce of dried herb, that's a lot of plant material. So I need to dry a lot. I basically can harvest as much mullein as I can and will consume it. So anyway, I like to use a needle and thread. So just your basic needle and thread. Although I will say these do get heavy, so I would use a thicker thread, like a button cord or something along those lines. And it's real easy. You don't need, this is how I just get it started. You know, like I said, it has that nice thick rib, and I would just pierce the underneath here, and I'm not even starting a like a knot. I'll just loop it around and go through it another time, and that's enough to, you know, secure the bottom one, and that's all I do. And then I just go from there and just pierce and thread, pierce and thread. Just go to town. And so, like, you know, you won't be here this whole time, because obviously I've got a ton of mullein here to string up. But like I said, you don't have to do this. I just like to do this because it's a little bit tidier, in my opinion. I also don't wash the mullein. I you know, pay attention to where you're collecting from. And it wasn't very, mullein brushes off really easily. So if it's like really dusty, I wouldn't harvest from that spot. You know, like I said, sometimes the show must go on, you know, and you do need to harvest from a dustier area. But mullein usually dusts off really easily. And as you're going through here, you can pull off little bits of dandelion fluff and whatnot there. So going to stop this for a moment and string all these up, and then I'll be back after I have them all strung up, and I'll show you what I'll do next. Oh, and so, I did want to say something. I got my label on there, but I right away needed to poke down the Mullein because it was expanding quite a bit in here, and top it off with a little more vodka. So I said to do that the next day, which I'll check in on this tomorrow as well. But right away it needed to be poked down and more of the 100 proof added. But anyway, let's see, I'm getting ready to turn this off so you can see how beautiful it is. Okay, I am winding down to the end here. I'm going to do a whole nother string. I think I have enough to do there. Anyway, I'm just piercing the midrib down a few inches, and if there's a little dust or something, I'll just give them a little, not really dust, I guess it's like dandelion fluff and maybe a little bit of dirt. The area where I collected these from had burned, so sometimes there's a little bit of debris of sorts. So anyway, once you get quite a few on there, I am going to hold the needle off and not lose it, and then I'm just going to tie just a knot here at the end so I can string this thread onto the nail there. But I left lots of space here so that I can then kind of fluff these up the string so that they can dry easier. Just moving them up the thread there. You could even hang these like this if you wanted. However, you know, whatever kind of space you have available. I've got some space in my house, but everything seems to kind of be overtaken with other things. So anyway, I've got my string here. I will hang it right here, and I will continue to fluff it up the twine. So got it there. I will do this and make sure there's plenty of space between these when you get down here at the bottom so things don't. These are very dry. They are definitely not going to mold. But it's better to be safe than sorry. So better to make sure there's plenty of space in between there. And there it is. And then once those are dry, I will just cut the twine down and crunch them up as I put them in a jar, or you can also whiz them up dried in a food processor if you want. I have done that before. That's pretty tedious, but it does get it ground up really, really well too. So personal preference. I think we're about done. We're about wrapped up with everything. Thanks for being here. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. Again, my name is Dacia, and I am the woman behind everything Simply Josephine. I create all kinds of sewn items, small batch apothecary. I make tons of soaps and all kinds of things. So anyway, I can be found over at simplyjosephine.com. There you can find all my offerings, and plus the blog section has a huge, I've got lots of blog posts written on all things herbal, things that I'm interested in, what interests me mostly is wild food, herbalism, botanical dyeing. So the blog section's full of things like that. And yeah, I think that's about it. So thanks for being here, and like and subscribe. And have a glorious, glorious fall. Bye.